Hey and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a little tutorial on the look that I have on now. So it's just a pink kind of cranberry blown out spotlight eye with some fluffy lashes, and I'm going to be using the Bperfect LMD palette to create the look that I have on now. So the palette is just a nice little palette. You get 12 eyeshadows and then 3 kind of face products. So you get a blush, sculpt powder, highlight, and then you have your more kind of pinks and cranberries and then your burnt oranges on that side. So I'm going to be mixing between all of them. I also used the blush on the face today. So if you want to see how I create this look, then just keep on watching and I'll see you at the end. So I've already went ahead and primed my lid using the Kiko full coverage concealer. It's quite thick, so I always like to go in with a little bit Duraline just so it's a bit easier to work with. So I haven't set my eyelid just because I want the shadows to stick really well and show up as pigmented as they can. So the first shade I'm going to be taking is this mustard colour from the palette. So this shade here, and that's going to work as a transition shade, so I'm just going to apply that right to the crease. And I normally go in 2 or 3 times with my transition shade just to build it up to the colour that I want it. So the next colour I'm taking is the hot pink shade from the palette. This one here. So I just really work it into the crease until again there's nothing left on the brush. And then you can kind of blend it out into that first shade a little bit more. And then because we're doing a spotlight eye, you want to bring that colour the whole way into the inner corner. And don't mind if you make a bit of a mess because mine's looking like a hot mess at the minute, but we're just going to clean up underneath anyways afterwards and smoke it out, so it'll be all good. So next I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. This is the 46SS, I think. It's the smaller one from Inglot, so it's the white haired blending brush, but it's a little bit kind of more narrow. And I'm going to take the shade Cranberry from the palette. This one here. It does look a little bit metallic in the pan, but when you buff these kind of shadows like with a fluffy brush, it actually takes the like metallicness out of it and it looks more matte. So I'm just taking that Cranberry shade and I'm starting on the very outer edge. And I'm just building that through the crease. And you want to make sure that you keep this shade a good bit lower than the pink shade, just because you don't want it to get really mucky and blend together. And then because we're doing the spotlight eye, you want to take your brush and just pat it on the inner corner. And then we're just keeping the centre part free for when you apply your pigment. So next I'm going to be dipping into the black in the palette, which is this shade here. And I'm taking that on a BB22 Buff and Blend brush. So it's just a slightly smaller tapered crease brush. And I'm going to be repeating the same steps as what we did with the cranberry, but I'm not actually taking it to the crease. I'm just putting it on the very outer and inner corner. Black on this small little brush, and then just patting it on where I want most of the product. So just on the very outer edge. Taking a little bit more. And then just a little bit on the very inner corner. Just a little bit. And then just really small buff motions. So I'm going to go in and just brighten up the inner corner because it's looking a little bit dull. So I'm going to take a 11S brush from Inglot, so just a really tiny little flat brush. So I'm going to be taking that, and I'm going to take that shade Beam from the palette, so it's like a baby metallic pink. And again, I normally go in about 2 or 3 times just to build it up so it's nice and bright. So then I'm just going to go back in with my blendy brush. I'm using the first brush we used just to buff out the inner corner, just so there's no harsh line. So for the spotlight part, I'm going to take the shade Rusty from the palette, so this fella here. And I'm taking that on the same brush that we used for the inner corner. So I'm going to be going straight in with that Rusty shade and just patting it on just the centre of the lid. So I like to swipe downwards down the centre of the lid first, just to kind of mark out the centre of my eyelid. I'm just going in with a little bit more just to build it up. So once I have the centre mapped out, I like to just wiggle the edges just so it kind of buffs it out. So it's kind of like you're almost doing a cut crease spotlight eye, but you're just using the shadow just to kind of carve out the crease. And you just want to diffuse the edges of that so it's not like a harsh straight line, and so it looks a little bit more blended. And then once I have that on, I'm going to go back in with the pink shade. I'm going to take that pink on the same 46 46 or 48, I can't remember which one this is, but yeah, this one anyways. So I'm going to be taking the hot pink shade and just buffing out the very edges, just so you don't have such like a harsh line between the rose gold and then the cranberry. And then just repeat the exact same thing with that pink on the inner corner. Just very lightly kind of tapping and wiggling just to blend out that rose gold into the darker shades. Now that we have that base down, kind of mapped out where we want our spotlight to be, you want to go in with a little bit of gel glue. So I'm just going to take the clear gel glue. I'm going to take that on the same brush, so the 11S brush, the tiny little flat brush that we use for the shadow. The tiniest little bit of gel glue. So about that much on your brush. Not much at all, I probably won't even need all that, to be honest. And I'm just going to pat it over just the very centre of where that metallic shadow is. So just start in the very centre. And then as the glue starts to dry, you can kind of just tap it out around the edges, just so it will look a bit more blended when you apply the pigment. And then you want to do one eye at a time as well, just because the gel glue will dry pretty fast. So I'm going to be taking Inglot's Body Sparkle in 47, which is the gorgeous kind of cranberry rose gold shade, and I'm taking it on the exact same brush again. Again, I'm just keeping it right in the centre, and when there's barely nothing left, you can kind of just dab around the edges so it looks really blended. And then to blend it one last time, I'm going back in with that same hot pink on that small brush. And again, we're repeating the same steps just to blend out the very edges, just with a tiny bit of that pink. I'm just going back in with whatever's left on my concealer brush and just buffing out any of the fallout from underneath, so it's nice and clean. I want to take the first shade we used, which was that yellow, and I'm just going to take down an Inglot 19P brush, and I'm just going to take that shade and just buff it right underneath the lash line. And I always like to start on the outer edge, just so you're really merging the top and bottom together. So then once we have that one on, I'm going to repeat the exact same steps and go in with the pink shade. Still using the same brush, but you want to keep this pink shade a little bit higher to the lash line. And then again, I'm taking that same cranberry colour and I'm just keeping that right nice and tight underneath the lash line. So then for the waterline, I'm just going to take the Inglot gel liner in 77. I'm just going to go in and apply that straight to the waterline. Tiny little bit of that black, and then just really buff it into the lash line to blend out that gel liner. And then just to buff that black out, I'm just going in with a tiny bit of that hot pink on that 19P brush from Inglot and just buffing it out just to make sure it's nice and blended. And then because I'm too lazy to do eyeliner, I'm going to take that same brush that we used underneath for the black, and I'm just going to use the shadow just to fill in over the lash line and make it look like I have eyeliner on, even though I don't. So for lashes, I'm going to take these Penny's lashes here. They're called Gala lashes, and they're just a really nice thick full wispy pair of lashes. And that there is the finished look. So it's just a really nice blown out grungy spotlight eye with some fluffy ass lashes. So moving on to skin, I already went ahead and I done my foundation. So I'm using the NARS Natural Longwear Radiant Foundation in the shade Stromboli, which is unreal. I've used this for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and it's so good, it's unreal. And then for concealer, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution concealer. This is my second one already. That's the only bad thing about it, is I feel like you don't get a lot in it. There's literally only 3.4 mils, which in most concealers you get about 9 mils. So I've only had this concealer for about 2 weeks, and probably about a month, 3 weeks to a month, and I've already went through one bottle of the concealer, but it is really good. I know a lot of people are comparing it to the Shape Tape. I haven't tried Shape Tape, but it is really full coverage. It lasts really well, it doesn't get oily on me, so yeah, I've been loving it, and it's only €6 as well. And I'm just going to blend that out with a beauty blender. This one is the Buff and Blend beauty blender. So to set my concealer, I'm going to use the Pixie translucent powder, and I'm just going to press that underneath to set my concealer, and just around the centre of the face. So anywhere I put my concealer, I just put the translucent powder on top. Then for a bronzer, I'm going to go in with the MAC Give Me Sun, and I'm just going to use that to warm up the skin. So that's just going to bring back in a bit of shape to your face. Now I finally look like a human again. I'm just going to take that same palette that we used for the eyes and I'm going to use the blush on the same brush that we just used for contour. And that's actually really nice. It's actually really pigmented. I like it. I like it a lot. A lot of people hate blush, but it just brings back so much colour to your face. So it's not just all like bronze and brown from all the bronzer. It just makes your skin look like skin again. You know? I actually got a little sample of the NARS Orgasm blush when I bought the foundation and it's unreal, so I'm gonna buy that. It's like a peachy kind of blush with like a rose goldy kind of reflex in it. It's so nice. So I'm gonna buy that when I get paid. I'm already broke and I haven't even got paid yet. So then for highlight I'm gonna go in with the Fenty Beauty Hustler Baby highlight. I have the little mini one, I have the large one as well, but it actually comes in a duo and I don't use like one side of it. And then I actually dropped it and it smashed, so I bought the mini one and the mini Fenty Gloss Bomb, the lip gloss, and it was only €20 for the two. I got them at Harvey Nichols in Dundrum. And I'm going to take the highlight on a Morphe R36 brush. So I'm just going to take a tiny little bit, so just at the highest points of the cheeks. And just that. I love the highlighter, it's so nice. I do find that it can be a little bit powdery, so it does depend on what brush you apply it with. I find that when I apply it with this Morphe brush, it goes on really soft and nice. Very glossy looking, which is nice. So I'm just applying that. I always go back in about 2 or 3 times just with a tiny little bit and just build it up. Basically put it everywhere. I put it across the forehead, down the nose, Cupid's bow, just everywhere. I like to be super glowy. So I just go back in with my bronzer brush and just buff that over just so there's no like stripe of highlighter. So then for lips today I'm going to be using my go-to nude lip, which is the Anastasia liquid lipstick in Stripped, and then the lip gloss in Undressed. I'm going to be using the Penny's lip liner, if I can find it. Where the fuck did I put it? Where did I put it? I actually can't find it. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to be using the Penny's lip liner in, I'm pretty sure this is nude. No, it's not, it's brown and I can never find it. This one is actually really similar to the Inglot lip liner in A54, which is one of my favourites. And then I'm going to be using the liquid lipstick by ABH in Stripped. And I'm just going to apply that on top. This is quite pale, so I normally go in and just apply it. And then I go in with the lip liner again just to blend out the edges so you don't have like a big line around your lip. You just want it to kind of softly transition into the lighter colour for like an ombre kind of lip. So I'm going in with that lip gloss by ABH in Undressed. I haven't tried the ABH lip glosses, they're actually unreal. I have this one and then one that's a little bit different undertone, pretty similar though in Butterscotch. And they're almost like a liquid lip paint, they're so pigmented. And they last for ages, especially when I put them on top of a liquid lipstick. So that there is the finished look using the little palette. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel, give the video a little thumbs up. I'll link all my social medias down below, so my Facebook and Instagram page as well. If you have any like video ideas, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the video. Yeah, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!